G'day Knuckleheads, I'm Knackers here. I'm now at that stage in my renovation where I'm installing my window architrave, trim or casing, depending on which part of the world you live in. Now this job, it's very simple to do and can be completed in only a few steps. And the great thing about my method is that you hardly have to use a tape measure, so it becomes a little bit less complicated. Let's get cracking. Now the first thing you need to do is to mark the margin on your window frame. Now the margin is also known as a quirk, which is the gap from the edge of your trim to the inside of your window frame. And normally that gap is about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters. So the first thing you need to do is to mark that margin or quirk. To make the window easy to mark out, I've set up my T-square or set square to have a margin of 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. Now all I need to do is to set this on the window and run that around the perimeter. So grab your square and just place it on the window frame like that. Get your pencil on the underside of that bit, just there. And just run it around the window. And that'll give you a nice even quirk. With those quirks now marked, you can also see how we have a nice sharp corner to measure our architrave from. Now the first thing that I do is that I measure the entire width of the window, and that's from the outside of the frame to the outside of the frame, which in this case is 1250 millimeters. Now I'm doing this video in metric because trying to convert from metric to imperial can be a bit difficult sometimes. So I'll leave a link to a converter in the description box below, just in case you need to convert some figures. Alrighty, so we've measured the entire width of that window. Now all you need to do is to add 2 widths of your architrave. And do the same for the height of the window as well. Okay, we now have the top and the bottom now cut roughly to length. We also have both sides cut roughly to length, and they've all got square ends on them at this stage. Now the next thing you need to do is grab the one that you're going to be using for the bottom architrave and cut a 45-degree end on it. So you need to set your saw to 45 degrees. You simply slide the base across until it locks in on that 45-degree angle. If you haven't got a miter saw, you can use a miter box and cut it with a hand saw. So once that's in place, get your architrave and with the back edge, put it up hard against the fence. Grab some safety gear and cut. With that 45-degree angle now cut, take this piece over to the window and mark it. Now carefully, with the short point on your miter, line that up where these 2 lines intersect. Just like that. Hold them in place, and with a sharp pencil, mark where these 2 lines intersect onto that inside corner. Just like that. Once you've marked that, take that to the saw and cut a 45-degree angle. So again, that's the way I want the 45-degree angle to be cut, so the back of the architrave or the trim is hard up against that fence. There's the line that we want to target, and whenever I do this, I always cut slightly longer first and then slide the piece over until the blade hits that line, just like this. Get rid of that piece And now to slide the architrave across. And bang, there we go. Now take this piece over to the window and nail it on. Now when nailing your trim to the window, you need to get one nail into the window frame itself and one into the stud or the trimmer beneath the window. So in this case, we've got one just there, you can see it, and on either side of this frame, there's also a stud. So you've got to sort of find out where that stud is, so you know where on the outside of the architrave you need to nail. So, place our architrave in the right spot. Both short points are on those intersecting lines, and then nail. That's pretty good there. Come down here, nail that, and then along the window, following that black line that we marked on it previously. Okay, so that bottom is now nailed. The next thing you need to do is put the two sides on. So with those two pieces that we've previously cut, we'll get a 45-degree angle on those first, bring them over, place them on the window frame, and then mark where they hit the intersecting cross at the top. And again, just place a mark where these two pencil lines intersect. And do the same thing for the other side. And now off to the saw to cut 45-degree angles on both of those boards. Now before I nail this piece on, I like to run a bit of PVA glue along the joint. Just like that, bit of glue, beautiful. Now place the architrave in place, making sure the corners match up nicely. Like that. Okay, the bottom's sitting nicely, and the top looks good. We're good to go. So one nail into the window frame and one into the stud. Now work your way up the window frame, sticking to that black line or the pencil line that you marked earlier. Now with my nails, I'm using a 50mm nail, which is about 2 inches. Some guys, they'll chop and change and they'll put a smaller nail into the window frame and a longer nail into the stud. Because when you go through the stud, you've got to go through full thickness of architrave, plus plasterboard or drywall, and then into the stud. But that's a bit of mucking around, and you've got to have 2 different sets of nails. I just use 50s, and that way everything holds beautifully. Okay, other side. All right, that's all done. Now the last step is just to cut that top architrave, and to do that, just simply measure from the outside of one to the outside of the other one. And I am 1,349 millimetres. I'll cut that, then I'll come back. All right, let's give it a go. Now, look at that. Look at that. That is beautiful. So all we need to do is to run some glue on both of those ends and then nail it. And there it is, all done. How easy was that? Great tip, Knackers! Well, I hope you enjoyed and found that video useful. And as per usual, a big thumbs up is greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more handy tips. Alrighty, I think it's time for a cup of tea. So till next time, I'm out of here. Cheers.